Hello to everyone. Welcome and thank you for registering to this webinar organized by the ICLEI World Secretariat for potential applicants to the Transformative Actions Program, or the TAP. This will be about introducing and explaining the TAP. I'm Annabelle Roblin, Junior Officer at the World Secretariat. I'm working on project development regarding the TAP and COP21, where ICLEI and partners are organizing a TAP pavilion. I'll present this webinar today together with Atte Oksanen, who is Junior Officer on Advocacy and COP21, also at the World Secretariat. Atte, if you would like to say a few words to introduce yourself.
Yes, hi everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Thank you, Annabelle. And so I'll be taking you through the application process a little bit later on in the webinar.
Just a few words on technical matters. So first of all, you will be muted for the whole duration of the presentation, and then afterwards we will have a question and answer session where you will have the opportunity to be unmuted if you want to ask your questions to us. In the meantime, during the presentation, please feel free to type your questions in the question box that you should be able to see on your screen, your interface. And so, of course, we will answer them at the end of the session. So enjoy the webinar. So let's start with the outline. So as I said, the webinar today will last approximately an hour with, first of all, a 20 to 25-minute presentation, which will take you through the TAP, introducing and explaining the concept of the TAP and its meaning for ICLEI's work and strategy, the content of the program, that is the 4 pillars of the TAP, and then some general information on the TAP 2015 application and selection process, that is the selection of TAP projects in the run-up to COP21 next December. So this will include information on the timeline of the process, on the selection criteria, on the application form, and finally on the selection process. And then the second part of this webinar will be, as I said, a question and answer session where we will answer your questions. So as a complement to this webinar, we will also send you afterwards a link to a presentation given by Yunus Arikan, who is the head of Global Policy and Advocacy at ICLEI. This presentation will give you some more background information about the international climate negotiations process and ICLEI's advocacy work in this context. So first of all, what is the TAP? So the TAP is a 10-year program, the purpose of which is to accelerate the implementation of climate actions of local and subnational governments, both in the pre-2020 and in the post-2020 phases, while raising the level of ambition at all levels, local, national, and of course international. More specifically, the TAP will seek to improve access to existing capital flows to cities and regions, and also to catalyze additional capital flows, both from public and private investors. So to give you some more background information on the TAP is a response to a previous attempt by local and subnational governments to push for a 10-year action program to be adopted within the UNFCCC framework. Such proposal was put forward in the framework of the Local Government Climate Roadmap in 2013. And so following up with this effort, now ICLEI and partners have launched the TAP outside of the UNFCCC process, while hoping, of course, that at some point in the future it will feed into the UN process. Now, coming back to the 2 missions of the TAP, which you can see on your screen. So the TAP has 2 separate but interrelated missions, that is a political mission and a more, you could say, climate mission. Regarding the political mission, the TAP is supported, and that's a key aspect, by ICLEI's role as a key actor representing cities and local governments in the UNFCCC negotiations. And so in this context, the TAP will advocate for better and quicker access to larger amounts of climate finance for cities and regions. Why? Because as we know, this is where climate change can be tackled effectively, and because effective climate action at all levels has become urgent given the challenges linked to climate change, but also to increasing urbanization. And so importantly, by engaging in the TAP and putting forward proposals of transformative action, local governments and the networks will pursue and intensify their efforts to bridge the gap between negotiations and the implementation process. So this leads us to the climate mission of the TAP. That is that the TAP aims to mobilize cities and regions to design these transformative and bankable climate actions. And importantly, it aims to assist the pre-brokering between subnational authorities and financing bodies where this is possible. So before I continue, let me just clarify what ICLEI partners can do for cities and regions through the TAP. So the TAP can offer visibility to submitted projects, both through the pavilion and the online TAP platform, which I will talk about later on. And also, it will offer the opportunity to engage more directly with representatives of the financial and business sector, who will also be invited to the pavilion. Regarding the application process, we can provide here at the World Secretariat assistance in filling in the form, that is answering any question that applicants may have on the form, on the process, etc., but also providing feedback to enhance the quality of the application once it has been submitted, providing translations. So for now we have English and French, but Spanish and a few other languages are in process. So what we must say on the other hand is that the TAP cannot guarantee the funding of the projects. As I said previously, the TAP can only assist in the pre-brokering between local governments and financing institutions. But really, what applicants should be aware of is that the key bonus of the TAP is really the fact that it is supported and backed by ICLEI's key political role as the focal points of the local and municipal authorities constituency to the UN FCCC. ICLEI really represents local and national governments and defends their interests in this framework, and so together with TAP partners, ICLEI has a strong advantage as a facilitator of this process, of this pre-brokering process between cities and financing institutions. So now if we look clearly at how this will be achieved, so the TAP will rely on two processes. First of all, a process of mobilization of key actors at the local, national and international levels, and a process of visibilization showcasing the climate actions already being implemented, but also, of course, the potential, the local climate potential. So this will be done drawing on already existing tools, such as reporting platforms. Also, the TAP, as I said before, will develop its own tools, and so this means like the TAP online platform, which you can say is an online registry of climate ambition, and then the TAP pavilion, which will be organized each year at a conference of the parties to the UNFCCC, starting this year at COP21. The TAP will really guide ICLEI's work with and for cities and regions over the next 5 to 10 years. And so ICLEI will be able to better connect its cities to funding opportunities. And so really the TAP will also contribute to ICLEI's political agenda, both towards but also beyond COP21. So if we look closer at the content of the program, so here you can see the 4 pillars of the TAP. If we look first of all at the TAP project pipeline, this is the process by which every year up to 100 TAP projects are selected in the run-up to the annual UNFCCC COP and presented during the COP, starting this year at COP21. During this process, cities and regions are actively mobilized to apply to the TAP and then supported in their application by the TAP team here in the World Secretariat, but also by regional offices. So as you may be aware, this pillar is already underway since application started in early May. So we will talk about the deadlines later on. Regarding the TAP platform, so before the COP, all projects submitted by cities and regions will be featured on this online platform in a unified format. The purpose of this platform is to centralize projects to make them more visible and to enable financing bodies to have access to relevant information about this project and to consider financing. So if we look at the third pillar, the TAP Pavilion, this is, you could say, the physical component of the program. That is the space where the selected TAP projects will be presented to national delegations, to international donors, and to financing agencies, both from the public and private sectors. And so this will happen during the COP. So last pillar is the TAP advocacy for accelerated climate action. This advocacy work will build on previous achievements in local climate advocacy, and it will seek to diversify and to strengthen it in various ways. So of course it will raise awareness of the potential of transformative subnational climate action. It will deepen the dialogue with national governments, promoting effective vertical integration between different levels of government. It will reinforce the engagement with international and national funding bodies and development agencies. And it will also continue the coordination of information sharing and debates on local and subnational climate finance. So really the key aspect of this advocacy work in the framework of the TAP is that it will create an essential interaction nexus with between all levels of government, and yes, and engage really with financing bodies. So now, if we take a closer look at the TAP 2015 application and selection process, so you can see on your screen the timeline of the TAP project pipeline leading to the TAP 2015 pavilion at the COP21 in December. So as I said, applications started early May. There are 3 deadlines for submitting a TAP project: 15th of June, which is already passed, 15th of July, 15th of August, and so be aware that we will not accept further applications after the 15th of September. The selection process will start in August, and we run in September as well. And so successful applicants will be notified in October. And finally, the 100 projects will be presented in the pavilion during the COP21 in December. So regarding the deadlines, these deadlines are independent from one another, which means they are not connected. You can submit your project at any of these deadlines. Only if you would like to receive feedback, it's obviously the earlier the better. You can also submit several projects, of course. Right, so if we now look at what is a TAP project. So first of all, we refer to 2 different types of projects. First, so on the one hand, fast-track transformers, and on the other hand, post-2020 transformers. So they differ in 3 different respects. So first of all, the stage they have reached. That is, either they are already fully designed with a clear budget, a clear action plan and management structure, or they only have the concept defined. In terms of the needs identified for enabling the implementation of the project, so either the project only needs financing through investment or grants, or the project requires not only finance but also additional advice and expertise in terms of capacity building, strategy development, technical and financial advice, etc. Finally, regarding the implementation period, either the project will be ready to be implemented before 2020 or after 2020. And so applicants can apply for both types of projects from now on. There is no restriction on this. So if we look at the selection criteria looking at the overall distribution of the 100 TAP projects, 5 criteria will be taken into account. So first of all, the level of transformative potential, which I will define in the next slide. The regional balance, that is, we're looking that the 100 projects overall are distributed fairly equally between the north and the south. We are looking for a balance of mitigation and adaptation projects, for a sectorial balance as well. So projects in transport, in energy, in biodiversity, in housing, etc. And finally, we are looking at how informed the different applications are. So this is the transparency criteria. Now, if we look at individual the selection of individual projects. So the key aspect really is that TAP projects should have the potential to transform society. And so what this means is that the project should be ambitious, cross-cutting, and inclusive. So you can see that these three criteria are defined in the table. What we mean, first of all, by ambitious is that the project can be either a first-time project that will benefit a large proportion of the population, or it can be an existing project that would be scaled up to benefit an even larger proportion of the population. In terms of the cross-cutting criterion, so we look at how different communities will benefit from the project, how different types of resources will benefit in terms of management, so sustainable energy, air quality, land use, procurement, etc. And finally, how the project contributes to other subnational, national, and global sustainability goals. In terms of inclusiveness, so we look at how and if the project encourages cross-departmental coordination for effective implementation of the project. How and if the citizens and local stakeholders are actively engaged, how the project fosters collaboration with other levels of government, and finally, how and if the private sector is actively engaged. So we will now turn to the TAP application form. So Atte will tell you more about the process.
Thank you very much, Annabelle. So I will be showing you the application process, both online and offline. So local and subnational governments who wish to submit their project can do so either through the TAP offline form or through the online application process. But in any case, you will have to be connected to our website, tap-potential.org, and you would go to the apply page by clicking right here, and that would take you right here onto this page that says how to apply. So as I said, you can apply either through the online application form or through the offline application form. So the online application form you would access by clicking this button right here, would take you to this page, and you can simply register in order to complete the online form, or log in if you have already login information that enables you to do that. This is especially useful for those entities that are already reporting to the Carbon Climate Registry. If you have login details for the Carbon Climate Registry, you can simply use them to access the TAP application form online, and also all of the data that has been inserted into your into the Carbon Climate Registry by your local government will be pre-populated in your online TAP form. So this is very useful for those reporting to Carbon. It can be useful, of course, to other people as well. It's a useful tool. The offline form over here is also very simple. The idea here is that you would go through this two-step process. You would download the application form right here by clicking this button. And once the form is filled out with all of the details, it should be submitted in this second step over here, where you insert some basic information, and then you would upload your application form by clicking this button right here. Now, you'll notice later on when we go through the application form that you'll be required to attach some supporting documents, such as inventories of greenhouse gas emissions, for instance. We recommend that you compress all of these supporting documents into one single document, and you upload this onto the website by clicking the second button right here. And then once you're done with all that, you just press submit. So just some information about the website as well. For now, the website is available, of course, in English, in French, in Spanish as well. We are working on a Portuguese translation of the website, and very soon we will have the entire application process available in these 4 languages as well. Now, let's have a look at the offline form that you would have downloaded on the website. You should also note that the offline application forms that are submitted via the website will also be uploaded onto the online application system by us here at the World Secretariat. So applicants who choose this offline option will also be given login credentials to access and edit their application later on online. And of course, only the TAP team and the applicant will have access to the submitted information. Now, finally, the TAP offline form. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go through all of the fields. You will see that there's quite a large number of them, but I will take you through the main sections, and I would also like to take this opportunity to stress that the form may seem somewhat lengthy, but it has been diligently designed to minimize the workload of applicants while still capturing the type of detailed information that would interest the financial institutions that would be looking at your projects. So the TAP application form is composed of 6 different sheets, of 6 different tabs. The first one is the README sheet with instructions that the applicants should read carefully before starting. So there's some information about what you will find here in the application form. Please note that the green sheets, the green tabs right here, are all mandatory. The only non-mandatory tab is the blue one, the last one here, the applicant commitments one. You will also see that some of the fields are marked with an asterisk. So these are the required fields. Some fields have drop-down menus like this one. And so there you would have to choose an option. And other fields you would simply have to type in your information. The fields in italics, so let's look for one over here, for instance. They are there to collect complementary information. So they're definitely not mandatory, but they will enhance the value of your application. The more detail you have, the better the application is. So let us go to the next tab right here. This is called the registration tab. So this is basic information about the applicant, the contact points, the TAP contact point, the liaisons, and at the very end, the terms and conditions. Now, only the only real condition is that you agree that the information provided in the following tab, called the TAP Overview tab that we'll be looking at, will be made public on our online platform that Annabelle talked about, that will be showcasing the applicant projects. Also, there is a possibility to indicate if you would wish also to register to the Carbon Climate Registry that we talked about earlier as well, which is the world's leading reporting platform for local and subnational government climate action, as some of the information included in this application form is the same as you would find when reporting to the Carbon Climate Registry. Now, let's take a look at the following tab, which is the TAP Overview tab. This is the most important sheet in the entire form. This captures the transformative potential of your project. So here you would really have to provide information that would sell your project in a way, and this is the information that, like I said, would be made public on our online TAP platform. The idea here is to help with our selection process and the first screening process. And here as well, just to show you, you will have drop-down menus like here to choose whether it's a fast-track project or a post-2020 project, and then other fields where you will have to manually type in your information. So yes, so this is an important tab, but let's move on to the next one. the applicant profile. So this sheet is giving background and contextual information about the applicant government. There's geopolitical information, socioeconomic information provided about the local government that is applying, but also information on the government's climate ambitions. The sectorial information that is requested here, well, we invite the applicant to provide the information for the sectors that are relevant to the local government's activity. The project profile, this is the next tab. So here you will need to fill in some core and some detailed information about the project itself, about the concept of the project, about the management structure, and more detailed information on the transformative potential of your project. So for instance, we'll be looking at the co-benefits of the project in terms of transformation. So here again, the applicant only fills in the applicable fields to their project. So climate, you'll be asked to provide information about the climate potential of your project. So this is applicable whether it's a mitigation or an adaptation project, and about the technical and financial feasibility, of course, of your project. These are this is all important information that financial institutions will be looking at. And here you will be asked to provide some supporting documents. Here you see it says upload document. So these are the documents that we would ask you to compress into one single file and then to upload onto the TAP website as I showed you earlier. Now onto the last tab. This one is the non-mandatory one. So this is the commitments, the climate commitments of the applicant government. So if the local government council has decided on specific climate targets, either mitigation or adaptation, the applicant can report them in this sheet in order to show how the project submitted to the TAP can help reach these targets, or how the commitment itself can be transformative. So as indicated earlier, once you have completed this offline form, you would go back to this page on the website and you would go to step 2 and submit it by clicking this button right here, and then the supporting documents would be provided by clicking right here. Now that's pretty much it on my side. Just as a quick reminder, the next deadline is on July 15th. The last one is on August 15th, and no more applications will be accepted after September 15th. So I'll hand it back to Annabelle to finish the presentation.
Thank you very much, Atte. So I will just say a few final words on the selection process. So the selection process is still, the guidelines are currently being developed, but what we can say for now is that two main entities will be involved, the TAP project selection panel, the expert committee, and so the principle is that each TAP partner is going to appoint a representative to sit in the project selection panel, and also an expert to sit in the expert committee, and so the expert committee will make recommendations to the selection panel. So by TAP partner, I mean local government organizations, financing institutions, civil society, NGOs, etc. And so finally, what we can say is that the process will not be based on a strict voting system whereby a majority would win per se, but rather we are looking for a consensus-seeking approach that is general agreement on what a good TAP project will be. So that's it for today. Thank you for your attention. So